Hello, I'm Mike Tobin, a 1991 graduate of Villa St. Joseph High School and chair of the VASJ Board of Advisors. It is my honor to recognize this year's Hall of Fame inductees. Since its inaugural celebration in 1987, the VASJ Hall of Fame has recognized the leaders among us, those who embody the mission and values of our tradition and legacy through their extraordinary accomplishments and stalwart support of VASJ. Over the years, the Hall of Fame has celebrated our alumni from Villa Academy, St. Joseph High School, and VASJ. We've honored the dedicated work of faculty, staff, and coaches who have made it their mission to educate, mentor, and support our students at pivotal times in their lives. We've also recognized the dedication of our community members who understand the transformative power of a VASJ education. Many of our inductees have achieved incredible success in their respective careers, dedicated their lives to serve in their communities, and use their gifts to directly impact the lives of our students. Each inductee showcases the endless possibilities that come from passion, hard work, and harnessing their God-given talents. This year in particular marks an important milestone at our school, the 30th anniversary of VASJ as a co-ed Catholic high school. In a moment, you'll get to know our incredible 2020 Hall of Fame inductees. Each individual has played an integral role in the success of VASJ. They've done more than simply care. They've transformed the lives of our students as educators, advocates for Catholic education, as coaches, as tireless, committed supporters of our mission. On behalf of the entire Villa St. Joseph community, we say congratulations and thank you to our 2020 Hall of Fame inductees. Because of you, the bar is set higher for all of us. We are so proud to call each of you one of our own.
My name's Susan Podboy Coan, and I graduated from Villa in 1973, and I was a teacher at St. Jerome's, and I'm the principal at St. Jerome's for the past 12 years.
My name is Pat Adams, and I taught with Sue Coan for over 40 years, and she's the only one I would ever do this interview for.
I come from a family of, I have 6 brothers and sisters, and we always played school, and I was always the teacher, even at that time. And when I attended St. Christine's Elementary School, and I just always would go help the teachers out. They even let me, it's probably can't do this nowadays, but I would dismiss the second graders for Mrs. Stanger was taking classes, and they would let me go down every Tuesday and Thursday where she took a class in the afternoon and just be with the children and teach them at that time.
I've known Sue, we were fresh out of college together 40-some years ago, 1978, and both got hired at St. Jerome's and forged a friendship from there, and we've been friends ever since, families together, and we collaborated a lot and we learned a lot. I know our pastor, Father Walsh, always said worst day of his life that when he hired us. He says that funny, in a funny way, we hope.
As teachers know, many times during the day they send students to the office for one cause or another, and after they come out, they're usually relieved. Most of the time they're smiling, and always with a handful of candy. And she always tells them what she tells us over and over again, as if I still teach there. It's all good. It's all good. That's her mantra. It's all good.
Well, I think Sue is so deserving of this, and I'm just thrilled for her. And all her hard work that she's done all these years, we can't even begin to get that across.
I appreciate it. I want to keep on doing my job as long as I can to keep on having influence on these children's lives, and they go out and serve and do community things and be kind. And like I said, I'm very appreciative of it, in that my friends came to take time to come here and talk. And my husband too, he's all excited because he was a Viking.
Just seeing how she would take the students' needs, not only their educational needs, but if their house burned down, she would make sure they had clothing, they had some place to go. And at this, over and over again, you saw that day after day. And what more can you ask? And I'm not saying this because she's my friend. This is all true. It's really true.
Well, my name is Anthony Redding. I graduated in 1989. And I'm currently a teacher here.
I've known Tony for about 20 years now. I first met him when I came to Villa St. Joseph as assistant principal and then later principal. When you talk to Tony, he's only talking to you. He knows you. When he talks to the students, he knows them. He knows what foods they like. He knows what music they listen to. So he takes an interest in the individual. and he remembers things about you that makes the relationship very personal and very enjoyable. You see him with his student athletes. He knows their strengths, he knows their weaknesses, and he works with them.
I've always tried to do a good job, and I've kind of tried to find out, okay, what's needed here for the class as a whole, but individual by individual. What do they need? If I have it, can I give it to them, and/or how do I give it to them?
It's just his personality, his character, you know. I think anyone that knew him, classmates, teachers, coaches, you know, they knew that he was a gentleman.
I learned from one of my college coaches, and it's still a part of my the program or the system that I would try to implement when I was coaching. It's called 2-on-2 help and recover. You're guarding someone over here, but the ball is over here. Then you're supposed to come off into a help position, and then when the backdoor cut comes, the pass is made. My job is to forget about the one that I was guarding and come over and stop the ball and help my teammate outside the lane. When he introduced it, for some reason, it never left me. Some 30 years ago. And he suggested at the time that, hey, everybody's gonna need some help at some point in their life. And like having lost both my parents when I was young, it resonated with me.
Tony shares who he is and some of his life stories with the students. And I think students can learn from him what it means to be a quiet, humble man of dignity and value. In a world today where we need to have role models, Tony has always been a role model for his students, his athletes, for his colleagues.
You know, he's climbed all those mountains, but he's conquered them. And I'm very proud to say that I know him and I've been associated with him over his life.
How's something like this happening to you? What did you do? Shoot, I can probably think of a bunch of other people that in my mind I would say that, hey, they're deserving of this, but somebody like me, what did I do? But I am thankful to God that someone would choose to think of me in this way.
My name is Jim Webb. A lot of guys nicknamed me Webber or Webby. Guys from my class know me as Webber, and then as coaching went on, it was Webby. Graduated from St. Joe's in 1980.
Yeah, I had Jimmy, it goes back over 40 some years. He played in the 78 and 79 varsity years. And Jim was a starter for 2 years on the varsity. Played at about 190 pounds. Made the East-West All-Star game, which was a major game at the end of the football season. That team, his senior year, finished up 8-1-1, so they had a great year. He was a tough young man at those years, because usually linemen in those schools were anywhere from 250 to 300.
Football teaches every kid about giving everything you have, leaving it on the field, and playing for the guy next to you. When you abandon that, you are quitting on your teammates. Is that what you want to quit in life? And they understood what that meant. And there's more involved to just that, but the athlete would understand where I was coming from. And just to hear them say, "Thank you, coach. Without that, I don't know where I'd be." And that's probably the most encouraging words as a coach that you can hear. To hear something like that, how much it meant to them, and that makes me proud.
No, I think anyone that has played and has enjoyed the values of playing and has an opportunity to pass it on to the young people they should take that opportunity, and Jimmy certainly has done that, and it's been he's been coaching over 30 years now.
To be inducted into this Hall of Fame, I've never put thought into this. I'm going to be honest, I am not one for awards. When Rich Osborne called me, I was honored. A lot of the guys and gals that are in this prestigious Hall of Fame are a lot of people that I know. In final, I can't thank everybody. Some of the ones that come to mind, Coach Red Kenny, who I started with in CYO, and I've coached with him for a long time here at St. Joe's. Nick Restifo, who is one of the big reasons why I continued my junior year after I had him for 2 years. Coach John Story, who taught me about life and how to be a football player. Coach Guprud, who made St. Joe's who St. Joe football is. Coach Gibbons, who was our offensive coordinator, who left after my senior year, went to Lake Catholic and has been at Lake Catholic for a long, long time. Coach Mike Moran, who was our defensive coordinator. He ended up leaving after my senior year and taking over the basketball program here at St. Joe's from Coach Straub. And everybody knows the legend Coach Straub is. And we all know what Coach Moran did here, winning all the state championships. There are numerous people in my life that I thank you. There are so many that I just can't name them all, but anybody that's been a part of my life, I thank you from my heart. I appreciate it and I thank you. And hopefully I can coach for many more years. And it's all due to everybody that taught me what life in football is about.
Hi, I'm Bill Raddell. I'm a graduate of the St. Joe's class of 1968. I'm currently teaching senior religion, and I'm also the school's coordinator of mission integration. So I work with both the Marianists and Ursulines in helping to keep their charisms alive here in the school.
I didn't come into the job knowing what a legend he was. So I didn't realize what an opportunity I had to have as my classroom neighbor, this dynamo of the Cleveland education scene.
How many people can say, I have a job that, this has been my only full-time job throughout my life. This is my career in this building. Can say, I have loved it. It doesn't feel like it's ever been even just a job or a burden. I remember saying to one of my coworkers, gee, I get to do something I enjoy and I even get paid for it. What an amazing thing.
He just has this very humble, hardworking attitude. He likes to joke that he comes with the building. And it's not just because he's been here for so long, it's because he is really in the woodwork. I mean, so much of the school's history has revolved around all of his very selfless contributions and the uncountable hours that he's put in very selflessly, just doing it all for the kids.
My dad is a pretty easy, mellow, laid-back guy for the most part. He has this incredible wealth of knowledge that I've always found absolutely fascinating. He loves the outdoors. He's a fantastic pinochle player. And I think the thing that he loves the most, his favorite title, would be that of grandfather, or my kids call him Two Papa. So that's probably like the biggest thing that he identifies with right now in this phase of his life.
When I talk to alums, a lot of what they say is having, finishing their high school career as seniors and having Mr. Raddell for religion was the capstone they needed to go out and be socially conscious and moral adults. Even if they're not practicing themselves, he taught them so well that those principles of thought are just ingrained in them in the best way possible.
There's a phrase that oftentimes they used to use, especially with the brothers. They would talk about a prudent tendency towards leniency, especially in disciplinary matters. But I thought that's a good approach. I believe both the Marianists and Ursulines take a very pastoral approach. It's about relationship. There's obviously the content which we want to teach, want students to be literate about their faith, but more than anything else, it's to have them grow in their faith.
I was so excited. So this has been something that I have longed for him for quite a while. Started a mini campaign on Facebook when the induction papers came out, or the nomination papers, I should say. I kind of started a mini campaign to get him like, come on, let's do this. And then when I found out, I was just over the moon. This is just something that I think will kind of add to his many, many accomplishments. But to see him get the recognition from the community as well that he has served for nearly 50 years now is just, it's such a wonderful thing.
It's a nice affirmation, that hopefully what I do here is meaningful, that it does make a difference, that it does have an impact. I think it's not just me. I think of my wife. She sometimes would describe herself as a grading widow, because she had to make a lot of sacrifices, because of my teaching here, sometimes, having to work other part-time jobs just to help meet the family's needs and that sort of thing. It wasn't always easy for her. So I think, I'm so grateful. And again, so I think that that's an affirmation for her as well. Her support in all of this has been really significant. I love what I do. I love the kids here. And so I think, again, being selected in this way kind of says, there's just so many good things that come out of this and hopefully will continue to come out of this, for my students currently and, as they go out into life.
Hi, Neil McCormick, class of 70, and I am currently still employed by my company, Cinecraft Productions, heading towards that great white light of retirement.
I met Neil back in our 1966 when we both entered St. Joseph High School. I only knew Neil casually. My most memorable experience with Neil was when we had the moratorium debate in October of 1969, and I threatened to throw him out the window. Brother Mike O'Grady suggested that would be a bad idea. It's a little bit of Viking lore back in 1970.
St. Joe's in the 60s really was the place to be. I got accepted at Ignatius, but there was no way I was going there. I was coming here. And here we go. You got me all choked up. Wait a minute. Cut. Stop that. That isn't. There was a certain energy having really 2,000 guys in a building together. And there was an incredible unity when we were together in the gym at some sort of event to get us pumped up, a rally, or where when we were in the stands at Euclid Stadium cheering for the football team, and there was an impressive power to that group energy that I think fueled the teams to do well, and so that's a lasting memory. And then of course, when you're here, you start making friends and you find your way among your friendship groups, and now those are lifelong friends.
I will admit that in the beginning of his involvement coming back to St. Joe's, I just thought it was a lot of fun for him with maybe some good to come to the school, but truly he's a competitive guy, and the guys were getting together and being competitive about the fundraising stuff. But what I found after coming to a few of the fundraisers and the stories behind the kids, I can't think of anything better than to give God in education to children who couldn't otherwise afford it. It's so touching to have that happen and to watch my husband be a part of it. I feel proud of him for that.
Yeah, well, I was just kind of one of those every 10 years go to the reunion kind of Viking, and And for our 40th, now a decade ago, one of my classmates who I had stayed friends with, Greg Pat, got me to join the committee for the reunion. And so we would meet here, and you start coming into the school on a regular basis. And so, the same halls, a little different. There are curls in the hallway now. We didn't have that. You begin to just connect to the school a little bit more. And so after the reunion, some of that same core group of class of 70 guys started to want to do some fundraising. What could we do? That reunion set a goal of a class gift of $150,000, which was a big stretch goal, I thought. I thought Kevin Flint, who set that goal, was crazy, but we made the goal. And so it was good for the school to see that kind of show of support from a class. And so we thought, well, what else can we do? So I got involved in some spring fundraising event that has evolved over the years. And so doing that every year, you want to have a video. You want to show the folks who come to this event where their investment in the school is going, and you can tell the story of the kids. And they're great kids with great stories to be told. So it was fun, very satisfying. Do a lot of stuff with widgets and truck brakes and steel doors and whatnot. So to tell the story of people, of young people, and the value they're getting out of their experience here, that's a great story to get to tell. So we're able to volunteer efforts to do that, and it was very satisfying personally to tell that kind of story.
I had an opportunity to work admissions 1 year here, and being able to give out the CD to the various students that I would run into, as well as their parents, was just a great marketing tool, and I believe it assisted in convincing some of those students and their parents to send their children to Villa Angela St. Joseph.
Neil and I are opposites, and I admire that he's joyful about everything, and he sees the positive in everything. I tend to see the negative. If there's any negative to be found, I can find it. And while he wakes up in the morning singing, I wake up worried. So he inspires me to look at things differently, more positively. When I say there's not enough money in the budget, he says, we'll figure it out. We're good for each other and that we're opposites. Yeah.
Did I ever think when I was going to school here that I'd have my picture on the wall and be a part of the Viking Hall of Fame? And it was, no, I just never imagined that. I didn't have any athletic prowess, and I wasn't, a class president or anything. I just kind of was getting by. Though I did have a lot of fun. So I was a troublemaker in part. You can just ask the principal, Brother Aaron, who I got to talk to recently as a part of our reunion activities. So, but a good troublemaker. So. I didn't answer that one well. Let's stop. Yeah, thank you. All right.
Thank you.
All right, next.
Kestutis, or Kestutis Petraitis. They knew me as Kesty here in high school in 1976.
Judy Petraitis. I'm a VA grad of 78, and I've worked here at the school for 14 years now. I work in the guidance department. I'm the guidance office manager.
I never thought about coaching. You're younger. You want to play. It's even in basketball. You get to that 19, 20 years old, you get substituted, you get mad. When you get 30, 40 years old, they substitute and you thank them, because, you don't have to win and stuff. I never thought I would get involved then. I knew when my kids were growing up, I was going to coach. I wanted to be active in theirs. How I got involved, my oldest, Kasey, was playing on a travel team. And unfortunately, here in the States, not many of the coaches have real experience. And I remember sitting on the sideline, and it was really bad. It was really helter-skelter. And I'm trying to hold my tongue. And my wife looked at me, and she just said, hey, if you could do better, you should step in.
I can think of countless times just growing up when, a mom or a dad or even the kid at the practice field, like, hey, coach, Sunday's game, I can't, my mom's got to work, or, I can't, my parents are out of town, is there any way I can, I got to find a ride, blah, blah, blah. And this is like pre-internet, so like, it's just like a paper list or whatever you're going off of. And, sometimes it'd be even, it wears you at some point with my parents, but even they're like, they take a deep breath, and I think they saw their own children kind of in this, like, if we've got the extra 15 minutes, we're going to make the side trip to just pick you up and then bring you to the game and then drop you off on the way home.
If they can't get there, they can't play. If they can't get home safely, or if they're worried, I just remember one of the kids, after practice, we were practicing in the backyard. It's dark already in the fall. The sun sets kind of early, and he's sitting there waiting for an RTA bus at 8 o'clock, which he lives in the near west side. Well, I couldn't let that happen. So, in the truck, drive to West 25th, drop him off, turn around, came back, and it was a routine. He had no other way to travel, limited resources. So, we do these things. I can't tell you, they need $1 to go eat something. My wallet was always available to them, and they knew right where it was, or inside the truck, and I would tell them I'd have some. So, yeah, whether they need it or not, but they remember it.
In my upbringing, you kind of think everyone has the same experience as you. You're a little sheltered. You come in thinking everybody lives your same life, and then at some point in your life, you have experiences with other people, and you see that you rub elbows with these people every day, but until you sit and talk with them, you can see that they all come from different walks of life. Some people come here never having breakfast in the morning. I mean, the smallest things that are commonplace to some are not to others. And that just opens your eyes to being a little more worldly.
Oh my God, she keeps me level-headed. I have a temper, contrary to what people believe. And I don't know what my son said, but I'm sure he'll tell you, boy, when I was younger, it was, I could tell you stories, but she taught me how to be a better human being. And, obviously you need support. You can't do it by yourself. Nothing gets done by yourself.
So my mom, obviously, as I mentioned before, in the pre-internet days, so coaching wasn't just like, someone saying, I'm just going to coach. I'm sure you could try to do it, but when you're raising a family, trying to get kids to school, there was just no way. So mom helped coordinate everything from like team trees, picking up kids to like bring them to practice, games, whatever it was. I think someone had referred to us as the first family of soccer at St. Joe's, which is hilarious in a lot of ways, but it's just great. I mean, my parents, like I said, there's folks that have graduated 10, 15 years ago that still randomly show up or see my folks when they're out, and my father still tells the stories. So even when we all go out and as the new coaches and everybody else is here, and we just kind of rehash old stories and tell old stories, it's just hysterical the amount of just different personalities, backgrounds of student athletes that have walked through the door here, and then the kids who were kind of those nutty, crazy kids in school, and now they're raising families of their own. It's just the entire transition is great, and my parents are just kind of in that when you kind of step back, look at their yearbook, and go, oh yeah, I've heard all these stories, and now they have to be the adults in the room and do that. But ultimately, they know how to have fun, and they made soccer fun, and I think that's what has attracted more kids to participate.
I was quite overwhelmed. I was really taken aback. I could understand Kasey's nomination, but to be included along with that was really kind of mind-boggling and awing for me. I went back and thought about some things. I was teasing him as we were doing our bios and said, you have so much and I don't have anything. And then I really thought about it, and I'm like, well, yeah, and he mentioned some things. He's like, well, you did this and you did that. And I'm like, I didn't even think about it. I'm like, yeah, I guess I did. But it was just the right thing to do. I mean, I had fun doing every volunteer position I've ever had. I could not be around kids and just not want to help them or be with them, or I don't know. I just love being around kids.
You get to that age where you don't get much more. You get to a level where you top out. And this is sort of like the cherry from this school.